everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Lack of Focus, episode 78, the Pew Pew Holiday Tournament preview. I am your host, Ed Horn, and alongside me tonight, one Mr. Sean Dorsey. Sean, how's it going, my friend?
Okay, how you guys doing?
I'm good. And of course, our producer extraordinaire, one Mr. Chris Sheriff. Chris, how are you doing?
Good, thanks, Ed.
All right, so tonight, in I guess homage to our episode 0 episodes, we're going to continue on with our little bit of analysis that we've been doing for our Patreon supporter one, Michael, and he has given us a list, actually several lists for an event that's going to be happening. Little small event, but that kind of fits our MO. We're not really super big into the tournaments, but we're going to go ahead and give it a genuine review. He's given us a list of all four of the lists that are going to be run at this small little event, and we're going to kind of review and kind of give our ideas and thoughts on that. We've also, of course, got our flight deck, as well as, standard fare for lack of focus and the stuff we're going to be talking about. So let's dive into the flight deck. Sean, you have some news. Something that might spin off a little onto its own side conversation this evening.
Yeah, oddly enough, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, my son called me up and we were talking, and I was thinking about asking him if he would want to play some Age of Sigmar and, dive into the unholy world of, Warhammer stuff. And next thing I know is he tells me, well, literally right before I was going to ask him, he says, guess what I got, Dad? And I'm like, what'd you get? And he goes, I got 40K stuff. And I'm like,
Woohoo!
really? And so he told me about how he got the box of Thousand Suns stuff. And it's a $85 starter box off Amazon. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to dive into this insane world of 40K. And 2 weeks later, to my right is a bunch of 40K stuff. So,
Welcome
and
to
with
the club.
the help of Chris on my initial side of this, and Ed chiming in a bit here and there, I think I've already hit about $600 into 40K in paint. So, Space Marines it is, um,
As it should
Thank you.
be.
And
as
yeah,
it should
and
be.
you decided to go, of course, with the poster boys of the Grand Imperium, and that would be the Ultramarines.
That is correct. Yep, and I got it's the new Combat Patrol box that came out.
That's a good box set. It really is.
Yeah, for the money, you're saving like $70 if you buy it that way
Well,
compared to if you
and
bought everything individually.
so what's interesting to me is whenever you have like hardcore gamers, like hardcore 40K players, they look at those box sets and go, "Oh, well, you're not really going to use this, you're not really going to use that, or everyone's always got these." But from your perspective, having never touched the game, having never purchased a model for 40K, those start building the sets are fantastic because it's going to really get you a good start into the game.
Yeah, like we were chatting about it. Sean was going to pick up the start collecting Space Marines box. And then I told him that last Saturday, I think it was now, they were
Yep.
releasing effectively the same box, but with an added transport vehicle in it as a combat patrol box. So
Mhm.
for like $50 more or whatever, you were getting a $70 tank on top of the already decent savings. So,
Right,
and then,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and then locally here, we have the game shop here in Omaha, and they have a discount loyalty program where if you spend $250, they put points on your card, and then at the level of 250 points, you get 20% off. So not only did I get a whole bunch of stuff, but I also got a lot of paint, the intercessors, the combat patrol box, the captain with the heavy bolter. So it's the three of the items that came with the newer stuff, the
yeah.
Phobos armor version.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
going all
Uh-huh.
straight up Primaris Marines.
So we were going over the different Primaris types and all of that stuff. We had a chat earlier on this week. We didn't invite
Ooh.
Ed because we wanted to actually do it on time.
but then so that was that was kind of the culmination of my week last week, was with gaming and stuff, was literally purchasing into the committing the mortal sin of jumping into 40K, and now having to do something with it. Of course, my
Mhm.
son has already built everything, and I'm waiting till I get my Ultramarines book, which I had to order from Games Workshop because I want to make sure that the models I put together match what I'm trying to do and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's understandable.
With the Space Marine book, I could do it because they're all in, everything's in the Space Marines book. But the Ultramarine supplement will help with making sure I have the right gun and the right guy type thing. So it's more of that hobby side than
Correct.
than that play side. And you
Yeah,
know,
you'll be good.
Yeah, you'll be
yeah,
fine.
I'm not actually not stressing about it. And then when I was at Nova Open in I think 2016, it was 2016 or 17. I had bought a Grex airbrush and some accessories with it and stuff, and have never actually used it. And then I bought my Grex air compressor today, or it arrived today. So now I'm ready to actually use my airbrush, which I've been waiting to use for a while, and now I pretty much have a reason to. And now I can, start slathering models up, show them to Kris, have him shake his head and say, "That's not how you do it, Sean."
I
You
don't think
know,
that'll be happening. I think we'll be okay.
If you're
yeah,
doing
I
it
think
like
so.
if you're doing it via airbrush, you should be okay. Just make I mean, it should be fine.
I'm
The
actually gonna do the first ones. I'm gonna base them with the McCrag blue
Mhm.
and go that route. I have also the Wraithbone color, so that if I want to do the contrast paint,
Yep.
I can
Yeah.
go that route with it. So I kind of have both to do both, and my son needs the Wraithbone anyway to do his basing on the Thousand Suns figures. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You're just two different shades of blue Marines on one good side and one bad side. Did your
yeah,
so it sounded to me like you got more stuff than your son did. Is it going to even out
no,
as
no,
far
no,
as
it's opposite. He has a lot more than I do. Um, the Thousand Suns box alone equals the same amount of points as the box I got,
ah
but it
well,
has more
because
figures.
Armand's in that box set, isn't he?
Yeah. We worked it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We just did power levels and stuff, and they're pretty close on
Yeah.
power level.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fine. That's
Then
fine.
he went and he got another leader. He got all kind. He actually spent probably an extra $200 to $300 on his stuff, getting more stuff in, and which is fine. Um, I'll do the same thing. I'm just not doing it all at once. I want to see. I got to figure this out first before I just start throwing money at it. And
Oh yeah, no, I understand completely. And
I
starting off with small power level games, just I mean, again, just for fun, you'll be fine.
well, that's the whole point. Is for me anyway. It's just a just for fun game. He has two friends that play also, so for him it'll be to whatever competitive level they want to be at. But him and I've talked about it greatly, and we're not going to overdo it. We're just going to play to have fun, and learn how to use a bunch of this stuff. I have so when I was at Nova Open, so we're talking a few years ago. I gotta set
A
this
little
up
bit
real
ago.
quick. So when I was at Nova Open, I bought a whole bunch of primers for airbrush. So a whole bunch of different colors of primers for airbrush, and a ton of airbrush paints that I've never used. And I have airbrush flow improver. I have all kinds of stuff
Yeah, the
that I
flow
had.
improver is what you're gonna need absolutely with GW paint. GW paint tends to be a little bit thick.
Yeah, and then the Badger, ready to use airbrush cleaner. So I have all kinds of stuff for an airbrush that I have literally never used, and now I can use it. Oh, no excuses anymore.
So as much as I want to take a really deep dive into all of those things, we've decided that we're gonna make that a lack of focus later in the evening. So
In focus.
an
Info,
in
A
focus,
lack
yes, an
of a
info
lack of focus in focus.
a lack of
right?
focus in focus where we're going to dive deep into some of Sean's questions about 40K and Chris and I'm so giddy. I'm looking forward to that as well. So Anything else other than all of that fun stuff to going on?
Nope, that's pretty much been it. Um, yeah, it's mostly been kind of the prep up to that point, and then the purchase last weekend, and then we went to the Games Workshop store here in Omaha and got more of his stuff than my stuff.
You're
But
lucky
we
that you
got
have
the
one in in driving distance.
yeah,
The
that's where we
closest,
got the rule books were there and the core books, and then so we each got a core book. Um, then I got the Space Marines book. He got the Thousand Suns, and then he got whatever supplement he needed for the. It's like 4 pages of stuff, but it's for the whatever. It's not psionics, but whatever the
yeah, it's the
the
psychic awakening.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
where they
he,
added
he
supplemental rules in there for that.
yeah. So he got bought a book for 4 pages of rules for his Thousand Suns guys,
No, there's one
and
for the
then
neck. There's one for the Necrons. There's literally no rules or anything in it for the Necrons,
yeah.
but it's got a pretty Necron picture on it, so I did not buy that one.
And like I
So
said, my old
Okay.
Ultramarine book will be here tomorrow. So along with some other models he ordered when we were at the Games Workshop store. So
well, and
Yeah.
that book specifically will really help you get into the lore and the fluff behind that
mhm.
army that you've chosen to play. Like that's legitimately yes. Everyone always makes a complaint. Oh, I spent so much money for like 18 pages worth of rules. No, you
18
spent for
pages
18.
front and back.
Yeah, front and back for rules, and then 60 other pages full of
Fluff, yeah, yeah. So
amazing story and fluff, and it's absolutely genuinely worth it. Sorry.
But I can't believe that reference just didn't land. I'm so sad.
I missed. I didn't hear what you said.
Such a
Oh,
boomer. 18 pages front and back. It's a Friends
yep. I get.
reference. Come on.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh no,
Rachel
I was never.
writes last. Oh man.
I was never a Friends guy. I don't know how else to put it. I was never like. There's this gigantic deal because I guess they're doing some kind of reunion on HBO Max, and
Yeah,
like
me and
I
Joe watched
couldn't
it.
care. I couldn't care less.
Oh, you've
I
got to watch it, man, because you get to look at all of the guys and go, yeah, turns out I edge better than them. Cool.
Is it really that bad?
Oh yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe just for that purpose, that's when I'll
Oh
watch it.
man, look at me. I'm awesome. Also, the fact that they're like 10 years older than me is irrelevant, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're a bit older. I think Courtney Cox is the oldest.
I think Lisa Kudrow, because she
Yeah,
was pretty old when they started. I'm sorry.
yeah, she might be the oldest. Yeah,
Relatively speaking to the rest of the
relatively,
cast.
yeah, pretty old when it's a show about being in your 20s.
Right.
right.
You mean like Beverly Hills 90210 where they have Luke Perry when he's in his 30s and he's supposed to be a kid in high school?
Yeah.
Well, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kris, I'll kick the ball over to you. What have you been doing lately?
Well, we watched for Friends reunion. It was our wedding anniversary on the 11th, and I knew
Happy anniversary. I forgot to ask you how many years.
11
Ooh.
years.
Ooh, you're getting
11
up there.
years married. 21 years we've been together now.
All right, so now you got to flex on that. I was about to say, like, my wife and I have been together for 19 years. We've been married for coming up on 17, but
Yeah.
I guess you win.
Well, I was already in the Air Force when we met, and Jill was in college and university, and like one of the things we spoke about when it was like becoming serious. So I didn't want to get engaged to be engaged, and we weren't going to get married unless we could live together. So
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we like didn't see each other for the first 10 years is probably why we're still together,
It has something to do with it.
Yeah, we didn't live in each other's pockets, so we didn't get like, oh, I'm sick of seeing you now, just get out.
Yep.
No, it's good.
That's good. Well, congratulations.
I got Jill the Central Perk Lego set for her to build them. So her and Evie have been playing with Friends Lego. It's been good. Then I spent this entire week. So on our end of it, we were chatting, and I was we were talking about Dice 8 stuff, and how it's going. Gonna keep doing it and all of that kind of things. But we kind of revisit it once a year because obviously it doesn't make money. It prevents me from getting a real job. And it's been fine because I've been looking after Evie, so I couldn't really worry about a real job anyway. But, just having that grown-up conversation. And I was talking about, like, one of the things I've been meaning to do and just keep putting off was, like, it's really hard to do a painting stream or any painting videos. So having to set up the table for painting is really time-consuming when all the painting I've been doing has been, like, time-sensitive commissions or, stuff I want to get done. And I've been making the excuses that there wasn't enough room in the furnace room and it's noisy in there because it's a furnace room and all of that. But I actually, after I vocalized that stuff to Jill, I was like, well, I should probably do something about it now because if I don't, she can hold it against me. And
Yep.
Next time we talk about Dice Hate stuff, if I haven't progressed it, I don't have anything to show, do I? I mean, it makes it a losing battle. So theoretically, there is a chance that by the time this episode comes out, we could have done our first painting stream because it's all set up, ready to go. 2 cameras, green screen. I'll have Twitch chat available or whatever platform I use. I've decided that the laptop that was going to be for going to events and stuff for my streaming from events isn't getting used at the moment, so that's been relatively permanently installed in there for me to use. So yeah.
What are you going to be streaming on? Are you going to be streaming on Twitch or are you going to be streaming on YouTube?
I'm undecided. I'll probably do Twitch because when I wanted to do it like 4 years ago, there was only really Twitch to use. I should probably do it on YouTube because branding. But what I might try, once I'm up and running, if I'm doing it regular, because obviously with our Inquisitive stuff, then I want to try and stream 3 times a week, realistically. If I can get that set up, I would probably pay for the software to let me multi-stream so that I could stream on both.
To hit both.
Yeah.
Will that laptop handle that, or are you going to have to move that to the main?
It's driven on their end. You still send out a 1 signal, and then they
split it.
They split it. Oh, that's interesting.
That's why you pay for it. Right, it's fine.
The only reason I mentioned the YouTube side of it is because you get added benefits for YouTube. You can get partnerships through that way. You can get like the super chats and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I know that you can get followers through and people can donate through Twitch. It's kind of basically the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would do. I've not really decided. I just want to start doing it and start being. I need to do more with the stuff if I'm going to keep doing it. So makes me feel guilty because obviously this is the one thing that I have actually made sure we always did. We always this has been. I mean, episode 78? We
Kris
committed
has been the driving force behind all of them.
And yeah, I don't think would be a surprise for people to hear that the X-Wing focus has been like harder and harder, and I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I still enjoy that as a foundation, but I think there's so much scope for us to do other things. And
yeah, I don't know if I'm giving a peek behind the curtain, but I think that we've talked about this on air before. We genuinely did talk about this originally, that while X-Wing was still going to be a big part of this show, that we weren't going to be restricting ourselves to things only X-Wing, which is kind of been
that's why we picked the title for a reason, didn't we?
Right, which has been kind of part of the fun of the show, which has kind of helped us continue to do so. So I absolutely feel that if you want to sit down and do a Twitch stream of just painting, you absolutely should do that. I think 100%. You're going to be doing it anyway. Why not just do it on camera?
And that was it. It's like I've spent a decent chunk of time painting now. No, I don't think I'm this isn't fishing for compliments, guys. It's fine. I don't think I'm like a Golden Demon winning painter. I don't paint that way, but I think the way I do paint could be useful for people and is relatively easy to teach, I think. So
You
I
don't
don't know. I
put
think the
75
content has value.
into one model. Like, what do you do? If you're not putting at least 75 hours in with with non-metallic metallics, then
So,
you're not even a real painter, are you, Chris?
well, my goal is if you spend 40 hours painting a model and that's 100%, I want to be able to put like 2 hours into it and get to 50%.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Because that seems like I'm winning that exchange.
Well, we can and I have seen some of the tutorial videos of those, Golden Demon tier painters where they're like, all right, so I'm going to start off with this base, and then I'm going to go shade up, and then I'm going to go to shade up, and then I'm going to go to shade up. And I look at that and I'm like, I don't like the subtleties in the shading difference.
I don't think I should.
see.
So I'm painting some god tier stuff for a friend at the moment. And
Is that a game or is that your painting level?
That's the game. So it's basically I don't think we've talked about god tier properly in the past. It's kind of like you buy champions and they have followers and you compete. It's kind of like a MOBA, but a board game. I'm just going to throw it up into the
we may
chat
have
right now.
touched this. I think we may have just
I
barely
did post it. So yeah, the last thing I posted in the painting channel was the guy for that. So yeah, and I think it was pretty good. It's not bad, it's okay.
I liked it.
I mean,
you even had. Did you put that on Instagram? I don't recall.
No, this one's not got an Instagram yet. I can share this screen because I have the technology. I can do this. So, no, not a new scene. We just want a new window capture. There we go. And then I can do this. There we go. I'm going to share some pictures of it. It'll be just to the right of you, Ed. You'll be able to point at the pictures now. Yeah, those pictures.
Or that way.
Oh, you're right.
That way.
Yeah, come on. I'm a producer extraordinaire. Come on.
You are.
So these ones, see? And that was contrast paint for the base, and then like some quick and dirty layering and highlighting. And yeah, I think they look decent for the amount of time and effort I put in. The Elder Scrolls guy was maybe 2 hours, maybe, but including drying time.
I love the little cut over the eye too.
It's supposed to be a tattoo. It's like a tattoo, I think. I've not really played the game, so I don't know.
To me, it looked like he got cut and there was a little bit of blood. I could see that too.
Yeah. If we click on it, I've got to do this now. Transition that. There you go. You can see it a bit bigger. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good fun.
Yeah, no, those are good. Yeah. And that could have been perfect content to put in a stream.
No, like I say, I don't think it's difficult to teach that style of painting because I feel like if I can do it, a lot of people can because I'm pretty bad. So, but yeah. So anyway,
no, those X-wings you did for Armada look pretty sharp. I'm just saying.
That's because the picture's taken from far away.
And they're like, that's not even 10 millimeter scale. What are those, like 8 millimeter? Like
not even.
They're so small.
Yeah, they're very small.
I like all of the non-X-wings. So painting Armada ships for Rebels, you buy the fighter pack, you're like, oh, these Y-wings have got the like little wires and stuff that connect from the nacelles into a main body. And then like the B-wings have got loads of grooves and stuff in them for the intakes. And the A-wings have got the raised parts on the nose and like the cannons and like the indentations for where the engine cuts are. And then the X-wings,
Yeah,
they're so bad. The models are
yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
Like there's no detail on them at all. It's like
It's
they
like
they, they made it. I don't know, like out of matchsticks or something, and just
it reminds me of what 3D printing 40K models look like in like 2008. Do you remember
yeah,
seeing like some of the, this is my dreadnought that I 3D printed? You're like, where's any of the detail?
yeah.
It
Right.
looks like Lego blocks put together kind of thing. That's what
So
those remind me of.
yeah, the X-wings were the hardest to do because you have to paint the appearance of detail on them, whereas in the others
Yes.
have little bits you can kind of work with. But
Yeah,
yeah,
like Royal Wash just does amazing work in just filling in some of the grooves for shadowing and stuff.
yeah. But I know, like taking it back to X-wing, I know like Gold Squadron used to have a painting stream and repaint X-wing ships, and whilst I've repainted a few and kind of enjoy it, I couldn't. I tried to repaint an X-wing. I was going to do my own black one so I could have the open and closing wings, and I just despised every second of it. So I don't know. I'd try and keep some X-wing content, keep some Star Wars content, maybe do some Legion stuff. But
That was the next direction I was exactly going to go. Is that if you really want to keep it in the Star Warsy kind of theme, go Legion, because there's plenty of people that are playing that. And I would love to see a tutorial on painting stormtroopers with the white
Stormtroopers are
kind.
surprisingly easy.
So
But
you say. So you
yeah,
say.
Well,
yeah,
till they all have, the handlebar mustaches basically that turn down, you know. That's what all mine look like after I tried doing stormtroopers.
but yeah, like I don't. I think the idea of trying to get the problem is it's really easy to do X-wing content because it's never going to be that big anyway. So if it's not that big, you're not really failing, are you?
Hmm.
I'm not a failure because I've only got 1,500 followers, so I'm still like doing awesome. I'm winning YouTube, and
Yeah.
like
You know,
I'm
though,
no PewDiePie, but like as soon as I start trying to do just like generic content that should appeal to everyone, then when I don't get any more, it's because I'm a loser and failing. So I just hide behind this shield of like our nice little Discord group, and as long as you guys are happy, I'm okay. But no, I'm going to actually take the plunge and set myself up to fail because not doing it means that you've already failed.
Correct. No one who ever did anything did it right the first time.
So there we go. That's what I
it,
spent my week doing.
the
Yeah.
other thing is too is that I know that I know that a lot of YouTube content creators. A good example, and Ed, this
Don't have a
isn't
3-year-old and have to and can afford to
well
pay
that
people to edit the
that's
videos.
that's
Yes.
part of it, but when you look at a lot of YouTube creators, they create one thing. Their highest streams are magic streams, let's say, and then they go and they play a game and they get 100 people watching because it's not magic. Where
Yeah.
when they have magic, they have 5,000 people watching,
Yep.
and that's the thing is that if you do what you, I this is my firm belief about YouTube because yes, if you're doing it for a living, like if you're actually that's your only income in your household, then yes, you do what makes the most money. But my philosophy is because at some point I'll probably start up a channel. It'll be the oldest guy gaming style channel, of me playing really bad games poorly, or really good games poorly. But the thing is that if you're not doing what you love to do and you're falling into that well of, content is what the audience is dictating, I think you're losing in that regard.
Yeah.
That's
I'll be
I could agree.
I'll
That's
be on
why
well, I'll be honest with you. I think, X-Wing when we did Nova, X-Wing was at its prime. We'll
yes.
say first edition was at its prime and the tournament scene was at its prime. You know, since then, and since we came back with lack of focus, X Wing isn't as big. in my opinion, isn't as bad. I know that they still get a lot of people at tournaments and stuff, but that personality side to X-Wing is different than it was way back when, and now it's really different because there is no organized flight at Fantasy Flight, so it actually changes that model with X-Wing again, and then of course second edition and how second edition exists is different, because your points are now in a builder, so you have to want to use build that builder for making lists and things like that. Whereas before, you could sit down with just your book and figure out a list and and throw it up on a on a page and say, hey, what is this list? Is this a good list? And
Back in the old FFG forum days.
yeah, where to me, I think if you branched out and did painting, whether it's X-wing, whether it's Legion, whether it's 40K, whether it's I know Guild Ball's dead, but it's the only thing I can think of right now. Doing
Right,
those
right.
types of games, I think you would actually have because you look at how big Sarastro is,
Yeah.
and I don't know Ed if you know who Sarastro is, but he does a lot of
Mm.
different game systems painting, and he does step by step compedians and how to do all of that. And I like Chris's method a little bit better because Chris actually shows you in great detail how to do things where Sarastro does, but I think sometimes he misses things in there that, or his style's different. Maybe it's
It,
just your style; it fits my brain better.
it's hard
But my point,
to go over it a lot of the time because I've watched a lot of Astro videos when he was
yeah,
doing just Imperial Assault.
right,
And yeah,
it's different.
it's different. Yeah.
When
It's not an easy type of content to make, I don't think.
yeah,
Especially
and
doing them as videos.
the good thing is the way he presented. Like these are the paints you need to do, and I am going to do. And
Yeah.
then he would do them to a tabletop level, and then whatever the next level is, and then the next level. But for me, the way that he was always talking, and I'm not knocking him, I think he's just an incredible painter. My taste though is more towards your flavor of it, Chris, than his. But it's just you know, getting back to the YouTube content. You look at it. If you did one video on painting, so if you did Monday paint with Chris, Wednesday, Wednesday, here's a new board game coming out. This is how you play it, type thing. And I'm just, throwing this out there. And Saturday is Inquisitor Martyr, and you're doing that.
So
It's
I
you're
do
doing what
have a super secret um, content thing that I'm in the middle of working on. I've not even told you guys about it yet.
Oh,
So you don't know.
and we're family.
Yeah, I've told very few people about it. So again, once I say it out loud, I have to actually do it. But
it's a
um,
stripper pole in the garage. We
no,
know, Chris.
it's
Live stream that.
it's role playing content, but more not gameplay. It's
The how to.
like kind of encounter design and stuff, but there's a specific theme that I'm gonna run on, but I have to actually write. So it's basically multi-platform content. So it'll be
Right, right.
painting stuff for miniatures, scenario and encounter building, um, how I put it together, and then a bunch of different things around it. So
Oh,
theoretically, one
toss in
piece.
some roll 20 tutorials in there too. How to do stuff in roll 20.
I hate Roll20 so much. I
there
still haven't added in your ball. That's how bad I am.
there is another one out there, Foundry.
Fine. The problem is, Ed, because when we started, I got you guys to chip in for the Strad book. What I didn't get you guys to chip in for was the player's handbooks, the subscription model, the lock puzzle. I had to pay for that. The cart, I had to pay for that. All of these different images. The map pack I used to build the weird and wonderful witches layer. that was some of that was paid for content, like the actual floor tiles for that.
Mm.
So I'm probably a couple of $100 in
Oh
on
Jesus!
Roll20. It doesn't go anywhere. It's fine, and like you get because I keep a subscription up so you guys can use everything. Um, they give you free extra content every month, and I've made use of some of that. Like the mine that you guys are heading towards is content that I got through that as part of my subscription. But yeah, I've heard Foundry's really good, and I'd be keen to try it, but I'm too deep in the mires of having spent the money.
Well, so
So
that's not a cost that I would expect you to incur. The only reason that I mentioned Foundry in any way, shape, or form is Freely Games, the
yeah,
publisher, Freely Publisher, the publisher of the Alien RPG, which I'm going to gush about here shortly, has an official partnership with them, and all of the stuff that they're doing has packs that you can buy from them that plug directly into
yeah,
Foundry. I started doing the same thing when I'm going into looking to the costs on some of this, and I'm like, holy shit!
yeah. Well, like yeah, I can get a starter box. It's only $20. So when the pandemic started, Roll20 were giving away the Lost Minds of Vandelver module, so you could download that and run it for free. But then it's what do you mean you don't want to play one of these 5 pre-generated characters? You want to play with 6 people? I don't have enough characters for you, so we're gonna have to buy the player's handbook now. And then
Yep.
you've got to buy it, and then like, you buy that, and yeah, it adds up, and it's
It's
a good business model, but
it is. I mean, it is like there's a
But
big part of
what
me though
about Ed?
that's
What about if you're just a patron of Dice Hate, you got content that you could take into that for free? It's part of your Patreon reward. Be
Mm,
cool, wouldn't it?
that would be cool, wouldn't
Yeah,
it? That sounds like a really interesting idea.
yeah. But it also sounds like a hell of a lot of work. So I'd probably have to do a bunch of that work before I announced anything.
So correct me if I'm wrong though. For Roll20 though, like if you really wanted to, the only reason I know this is because this comes from my experience from the last Alien RPG module that I played. The guy that ran that, Larry, made all of his own content. So like you're not necessarily required to purchase all those things. You just have to build them, which is a time
Yeah,
investment. So I get the cost benefit ratio on that. I get the ROI on that on the return. Like if you're willing to put that kind of time into it and create your own maps and create your own character sheets and create all your own assets, you can do it without going out and buying any of that stuff. It just becomes really easy to be like, oh, well, it's only $30 to buy this.
I
Why
think
did-
so. So really quick, one thing I do think about whether you're paper, paper DMing or your electronic DMing, that's always going to exist one way or the other because you have to buy your supplies. The if you're if you have 5 people face to face and you're just slapping paper on a table, that's not really that fun. That's why you go out and you buy the miniatures. The
Yeah,
miniatures that are pre-painted. Yeah, pre-painted, or you
all the
buy the ones,
books.
all the
yeah,
books, everything else. It's no matter how you look at it, you're always falling into that category of what is the DM is usually the one who's investing the most,
yeah,
Agreed.
and the investment that people never take into consideration is time. Time is your biggest investment, and it all depends on what you value time at. And if your ROI, if you put 80 hours into a campaign, like 80 physical hours, straight hours, working on a campaign,
Drawing up the assets, all that
and
other
you
stuff. Yeah.
get 10 hours out of that, is your ROI, is it going to be
No.
a good return on investment in time? And
as a general rule, for if I was running homebrew content, I'd be expecting to put in 4 hours work for like 1 hour's worth of play, kind of thing.
correct.
So, well,
Yeah.
maybe a bit off, but because for the sessions I run with you guys, in my head, I consider them to be half sessions just because of the way the timings always work out. So we chat a little bit beforehand, doing anything intricate takes more time on Roll20 than just moving your pieces on the table, kind of thing. Or in my opinion,
Right.
it does anyway. And then we'd have a piss break or whatever, and that's the end of the week, and then we'd finish the session the next week. So I in my head when I plan, I plan one session, but it's going to be 2 weeks for us to do it, kind of thing. So I would expect if I was running in person and we were doing like normal 4 or 5 hours worth of play, that I'd be putting in between like 6 and 8 hours a week for homebrew content.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's not even that's not even I call it toilet time. So this is how the way my brain works. But the time that you sit, so you have the time where you're sitting down and you're actually writing the campaign. Like I've already put together stuff if we ever do a cyberpunk campaign. I already have the beginning of it written. So the intro to it's already written. If we ever did a Gamma World campaign, I have a Gamma World backstory already written. Because that's how I do it is I start with the backstory before I ever even start with anything else, like what the world is. It's to give your players that vision of the world rather than, because if they know what you're thinking or at least are on the same page, they can immerse themselves a lot better. Rather than, you're a first level pure strain human or a first level solo type thing, and plop, here you are, you're in the city of whatever, and you're in, night whatever it is city and all that. There's so much prep time. I over prep everything. You guys know that from X-wing, tournament prepping for a 12-hour tournament. I put in 200 hours of prep because you want to make sure that everything, if something happens, you have a way around it. Because one thing I will say about X-wing players is the more that they have to sit and wait, the more they get grumbly and pissy about things. And if you have if you have a
Except at
way,
lunch. Except at lunch.
except lunch, yes, but people, if you were at Nova when I ran it, it ran literally. And, I pissed off my judges a lot because it's like, get to that table, get that sheet so I can get it done. Because there's verification pieces. Not only are you, not only are you entering data, but you're verifying data so that you don't have to repair around, which happened all the time in tournaments, because oops, I misput, Joe winning instead of Jim winning, and Jim actually won. So now we got to change it, repair it. And the
Hmm.
preparation is the key because you got to be able to handle anything. And especially with software, if you're using software, if there's an error, you need to know how to handle it. So you have to iterate that to death. And that's the way I always was. And it's the same way I am when I build D&D worlds. The other thing I do is where Kris, I think, is a very nice DM, where he's a softie. Like for me, there's a lot of
He's
battles that
not
we have
wrong.
had.
He's not
There's a
wrong.
lot of there is a lot of battles that we have had that you probably our group would have died if I were the DM. And it's not because Kris fudges die rolls or anything like that. It's just I'm that type of person where I like to take everything to the edge in games, because that thrill of excitement is is what gets me going. It's what gets my juices going. Not all my players like it. I've had players quit midstream because they can't handle the
The
way that
truth.
I view, yeah, or they can't handle how I handle NPCs because an NPC isn't your best friend day one. An NPC has to learn to trust you, and you have to learn to trust them, and that's how I play them.
Yeah, they're a perfect stranger to you up until that point.
Exactly. And a lot of times they're plot pieces, but I don't know. I think we're way off where we started with this, but
It's all right.
but at the same time, I've been looking at Tableau, and they have a lot of systems in here for sure. But
Yeah.
I don't know. They even have the Star Wars FFG system in here, and it looks like you have to download stuff. That's what it
Correct.
looks like.
Is Tableau is like that third tier tabletop one, correct? Because the only ones that genuinely I know in any research I did, like I had never even heard of Roll20 up until Chris was like, "Hey, if we're gonna play D&D, this is what we're gonna play it on."
Roll
And then I did
20
my
is the only one I actually knew of. Tabletop Simulator, of course, but I don't think that that's a good methodology.
no,
Role
not
playing.
for role playing. No, I agree. It's good for other things, but not for that. So, and like I said, the only reason I even looked into Foundry, first of all, it looks a lot prettier than Roll20. Uh, no qualm. We've been playing on Roll20 for well over a year now, and it functions. It to me, all right, Sean, you'll probably you'll get this reference more than maybe Chris will. Roll20 to me is Magic the Gathering online.
Yep.
Functionally, everything works according to the way that the rules are supposed to work.
Right.
It just physically doesn't look very pretty. And
Yep.
Foundry is more like Arena.
Yep.
Rules still work, but it's got a lot more flashier lights and a lot more prettier things.
And it's a newer architecture and
It's
everything
newer
else.
architecture, yeah. Because I mean, Roll20, I don't think that they've really necessarily updated that software. They've updated asset packs, absolutely, but I don't think they've updated that software in a decade.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that, but it's
I know enough that that one of the early struggles that it had was when Chrome started becoming a primary browser in internet usage. It struggled in that,
yeah, yeah, and
and Chrome's been around for a while.
yeah, for sure. I think that I really think that I think for ease of use. So I've never used it to the level Chris has, but I've used it before running a campaign. Like I said, not to the level that Chris had. I added my own maps, and then you have to build everything on those maps and in your scaling and everything else. This was a few years ago before we even started using it, and I didn't like it. Number one, I'm not a programmer, so I'm not a script guy, and I'm not a kind of guy that I don't have the creativity that some people have to be able to put a lot of interesting things. Is I have to use other info. That's why I bought, $200 worth of cyberpunk books from a store in Canada, because I like the
Some
I
store.
like I like the background information that comes from those books. It's why if you were playing with me in 5th edition, you're actually playing 2nd edition or 1st edition D&D, because I have all the modules
Yeah,
and
they're
I
just
just convert it.
yep, revamped to I've done that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because
But you
some of those modules, it was never about the mechanics of the game. It was always about the story. It was always about what was happening in there. Like legitimately, if you're rolling in, 2035 Pathfinder, it didn't matter what role playing system it was. It was the story behind what was happening in the module.
right.
It genuinely didn't matter. The only time that kind of weird stuff came up is like, oh, well, you fire off a trap and it does X amount of damage. That's the only little fiddly bits that came into kind of stuff like that you have to modify kind of stuff. Other than that, it's all story.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing for me, is that what's cool about the modules is you don't have to you could tinker with them, but you really don't have to change a lot. The old here's the front door, here's room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4, room 5, and they're already all laid out,
And
and
oh,
it
there's
just
skeletons in this room. I'll just go to the most recent version of the monster manual and pull a skeleton out instead of using the stats here. I'll just use the stats there. Yeah, oodles of fun.
yeah. And that's the way that I am. I'm not the only thing I will ever build in any game system is the backstory. So here's a good example. Have you watched Altered Carbon, the first season?
Yeah.
I couldn't get through the second season because
So
it was
I've I love Anthony Mackie, but I can't. He's terrible in that role. It's just not.
Yeah, I couldn't get through it. And what killed me was I really enjoyed the first season, and like I
We
totally get
had
the entire
this
premise.
talk.
We did,
What?
we did.
What was that, Chris?
I was just, mate. You mustn't have been on that show, but I'm pretty sure we had this talk on
We had
whilst
this
we're
exact
recording.
conversation. We had this exact
So,
conversation.
so the altered carbon world fits into a great worldview of my cyberpunk world.
Yeah.
So if we're
Hmm.
playing cyberpunk with me, the aspect of the meths in altered carbon have existed. It's like the guy wrote that the book that's based on, from my notes for Cyberpunk 2020 in the early 1990s, because that was my whole theme behind it. Was you had the corporations existed, and the corporations were run by what in altered carbon is a meth, but these people that are living forever and ever and ever. It's like the movie Aeon Flux, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah.
It's
That was
very
a good
similar. Yeah, that concept. I love
TV
that
show.
concept.
TV show was better, just for the record. But
Right.
the
And
animated one, but
yeah, the movie was kind of, it was okay, but
it was okay. But yeah, I get the portrait you're painting on that.
yeah, it's that live forever, groups of people live forever, amass wealth, and then you have the dregs of society that are always fighting against that wealth, which in Cyberpunk 2020 you represent it as the corporations, but behind those corporations are the meths that live forever. And it's like if I ever did Gamma World, it's the Planet of the Apes story, not the planet turns into apes. It's your astronauts on a ship going back in time, going
Hmm.
forward in time, but you think you end up going back in time. And that's the thing, because here's my whole thing is that as players, why not just take your skills in with you? It's very hard on a lot of game systems to try to come up with a way that you're not metagaming all the time. Why don't you just build metagaming into it? And so your five astronauts that were on a space flight that were going to, Mars, ended up going through a wormhole, and you ended up on the Earth, 200 years in the future. And now you're in Gamma World setting. And now you have to understand, you know how to use a gun, but you may not know how to use a biolaser pistol because
Right.
they didn't exist. So now you got to figure that out with the skills that you have today. So all your metagaming is actually gaming. Everything that you're using from your outside, your skills today, you put into the game. And it allows people to be freer that way. That way they don't have to sit there and, you don't have those conversations in the middle of it where, oh, we're metagaming this. No, you're not. You're playing exactly how it should. That's why I like those settings, the cyberpunk, D&D. It's a tough one always because you're always going to metagame D&D,
Yeah.
always. There's no way you can't metagame D&D because
It's
D&D,
built into the system. Like, oh, here's this new source book that has all these new rules and all these new things. Like that. It's built into the game system to do that way.
yeah. The problem is that the metagaming in D&D comes from understanding what a trap actually is and what a trap actually does, rather than in the game you're trying to
You
figure that
fuckers would have
trap
to check
out.
for one first, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we would.
Exactly.
Yeah, we would.
Yeah,
We have a
that's what
rogue
I'm.
and everything.
Yeah, the metagame side of it is, oh, well, I would have checked for it anyway. I'm a rogue. I'm always checking for traps.
That's fine. Like
Absolutely.
literally,
It's
it. If someone said to me, but the default is when we enter a room and I check for traps, I'd tell you to roll. No one has said that.
right.
Not
No, I get that.
once. Not
But
once.
the metagame thought, it always goes back to who the hell was it? Who was the pilot that could land on rocks
Oh
and
yeah,
not have the effect?
Dash.
Dash Rendar.
Defender.
Well, it was always thought of in any game. I can't believe how many games went on that I saw Dash Rendar on the table, and there was never declarations in that game. It was always assumed.
Mm. See, the brief period of time that I played him, and again, this is just my style. I announced ahead of time, up unless I
Me
say
too.
otherwise. I will pre-declare
Yeah,
my intention to land on a rock
and that's
unless I say otherwise.
and it's funny because in the original rules of X-wing years and years ago, it stated that you had to verbally state what your action was.
Yes. We had a big hubbub with Bob
We did.
whenever
Yep.
he went and did not
Yeah.
pre-declare. He was moving 3 ships. They were all making the same movement,
Yep.
and his opponent like bitched up a storm. He didn't declare actions for those 2 when he moved them.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was
Printed
in the
law.
rules that you had to declare.
And
You
he
couldn't
wasn't
just
wrong, but it was just a dick move.
right. It was the concept of placing
I mean, that
this
was the epitome of like, what are you gonna do? Like I'm pretty sure we might have had the conversation on
We
here,
did
or
with the
did we?
yeah.
tournament stuff.
No, as about what do you do if your opponent just yeah, we did have it. If your
Yeah,
opponent just says
I think we've
I
had it a few
just
times.
picks all the ships
yeah
up, put them back on the board, and say,
yeah
"No, you
yeah
didn't."
yeah,
Like
so it's
that
done.
didn't
It's over.
happen.
Yep.
Yep.
Do what you want, man. So
So
yeah,
anyway, that's my whole thing is that, most
Not that
systems
I would ever encourage violence, but that's absolutely someone that you meet in the parking lot after the event. Just so we're on the same
in a
page.
video game.
Yes,
yeah, in a
yes.
video game.
In a video, yeah, yes, absolutely.
All right, let's what was your flight deck?
Well, so all right. So for me, it's funny that we're talking about this. A lot of the role playing stuff. Uh, Freely Games was a little late on releasing their latest book out for the Alien RPG, which was Colonial Marines. But what they did do, for those of us that pre-ordered it from them, is they pre-released the PDF. They were hoping to do it on Alien Day. They were about 2 weeks late, but they did get it out. So I did end up with in my drive-through RPG mailbox. I got the Colonial Marines campaign source book that Freely Games is just about to publish. We should see physical copies if you're looking to pick this up at your friendly local game store by the end of June, according to Freely Games. This is a 380-page amazing tome. One of the things that I like about this specific role playing system, it's quickly becoming one of my favorites. I don't know that it's ever going to topple D&D. D&D is always going to have a special place in my heart. Period. I can always find fundamental issues with the rules that I've had for a role playing game, as Dungeons and Dragons is. However, it's always going to be the king. However, so whenever you want to do that breakout of system, it reminds me an awful lot about like how the West End game Star Wars game worked. Theirs was a D6 based system too. There was based on levels of success. They didn't have a stress mechanic like this one does, but overall, it was a very rules light. So it was more role playing than role playing ROLL playing. So I have so a lot of this book, a lot of this 380-page tome, like there are some rules, there's some new interesting stuff they're adding to campaign role, but a lot of it is just background source material on a universe that I grew up on that never filled in any of those gaps. So for me, it has just been I've been a kid in a candy store reading up on all of the background information on what's going on. They do work specifically with now Disney. This is the first Urban Conquest. Woo. Sorry, Sean's showing off his stuff for those of you in the audio format. So they are working tightly now with that was 20th Century Fox before. They are now working tightly with Disney because they are the ones that currently own the property for the Aliens universe. So everything that's coming out of here is considered to be canon. So it is so now that it's all canon in the universe, now I'm tying in a lot of the stuff that I've read in the books that are now showing up into here, and little tiny mentions that was a paragraph in a book somewhere get way more expanded, and you really start to get a lot of the information on it. But this book has inspired me to be like, I want to start an Alien campaign. The rules for campaign play weren't really fleshed out in the main book. They said you could do it, absolutely could do it, but they genuinely were pushing players in the first year and a half of its inception into the cinematic. into the, you're going to play this one cinematic thing. It's a one-off. It's going to take you 2 or 3 sessions, and then it's going to be kind of over. And then you put it back on the shelf, and then maybe you pick up another one. Then they get this really big cinematic one with Destroyer of Worlds, and that'll take you like 8 or 9 sessions, and then you put it back on the shelf. But this one book is an absolute must-have if you're into the game in any way, shape, or form. It is all the campaign rules that you ever want, and includes half of the book is a pre-generated campaign books. Like, think of it like if you were to, like, for me, I have a lot of the Forgotten Realms stuff. I was a really big fan of the Forgotten Realms, so I bought all the Forgotten Realms source books. I still have the second edition box down here. So like I've got the second edition box, I've got the third edition book, and that one was very rules light, but it was just dripping with lore and fluff that really get your head into that world. So when you are writing, an adventure in the Forgotten Realms, and you're going into the north, you can actually go, oh, I know this area. I know what's going on here. I know all the key players, so I can look up these little names, and all of that is here. So it's just been a joy to read this book, and it has inspired me to, like, oh God, I really want to run an alien campaign at some point in time. Because I mean, what cooler way would you want to do it? Like, to be able, like, I want to play in the movie Aliens. Well, you know what? They didn't all go to LV-426. Like, they went into Border Worlds at points in time. They went out and said, hey, there's this hostile alien species that's attacking our harvesters. Go kill them. And guess what? They're not xenomorphs. They're something else. So you have a military action going there, and then they're protecting the borders to the other governments that are in the galaxy. It's so much cool stuff that's going on. So I'm almost through it. I am almost through it. I'm into reading more of the details of the actual campaign stuff now. But oh, it's been a joy. So that's what I've been doing. I've been sitting on the couch the last couple of nights, just flipping through this book and flipping through this book. It's just been pure joy. So that has been my gaming. That's pretty much all I've really done, is preparing to game. So it's interesting that you had made that thing where you're like, oh, well, I spend multiple hours designing the campaign in my head and writing stuff down before I ever come to the table. I'm already there. I'm already like, ooh, this would be a good idea. And then we can go here, and then we can do this. Then I can add this on top of it. Like, this is that's already where I'm at with this already. And I'm really looking forward to, at some point in time in my life, starting something there. It was in the side note to that is that someone else had mentioned that, of course, they're listening to me ramble on about this game so much. Like, oh, this sounds like it might be fun. I might want to try. I mean, my main key, of course, is I do not want to disrupt Monday Night D&D. Period. Having way too much fun with it. I maybe I'll wait till this campaign's over is just not the right timing. I don't know that this campaign ever ends, which is fantastic. So maybe it's got to be something like, instead of a Monday night, it's a Wednesday night, every other Wednesday night, the nights that we're kind of thing, that I just set up another campaign. Which is why I was
Yeah.
asking the questions about, because I think that if I really want to do this like I want to do it, I think the only way to do it is to guarantee that I'm not interrupting what we're doing with Kris's campaign. Which is why I was asking the questions about Roll20, which is why I was asking the questions about Foundry, because at some point in time,
Oh,
I've
I
put
have
my
no
money
problem
where.
being a player on Foundry because it doesn't cost me anything.
Right, exactly. My point is, at some point in time, I'm going to have to put my money where my mouth is somewhere. My inclination would have been to do it in Roll20, because you're proficient in Roll20. If I've got questions, you can kind of give me a, hey, this is how you do stuff in Roll20, as opposed to trying to learn a new one, because you can do both. But that's all a side note. So the dream is under the surface brewing. So if there is anyone in the Patreons who are listening who would be interested, I might ask Kris to put something in the Discord, and maybe we can get some general conversation going to see who might be interested in joining for an Alien RPG campaign.
Yeah.
That's it. That's been my gaming. I didn't really get a bunch of other stuff done. Had some other family stuff this past week and blah. I won't get into that. Anyway, main topic time. We've got fun lists to look at.
Yeah. So, obviously, Michael emailed us a while ago now, 3 episodes ago, talking about like competitive play, deployment, all of that kind of stuff. And we've been going back and forth, and then we had a bit of an exchange on the Discord, and I came up with some list ideas after he gave us what list he had been running, and he said he was going to take a slight variation on the Rebel list that I spoke about, the Rebel beefy one. So it turns out he ran with 4 Blue Squadron Escort X-Wings and a Blue Squadron Veteran with Tractor Beam and Stabilized S-Files.
I love
So
that list.
he basically dropped the Zeb attack shuttle with Leia to get an extra X-Wing, which I think is something like an extra 2 health for the loss of
Yep.
Leia.
And it's genuinely quite a bit of beef. It is remnants of the. It reminds me very much of a 4B1Z list.
Yeah.
That list was never designed to out maneuver or outperform anyone. It was just like, I have a truckload of hit points. Can you get through them before the end of this game? Because I've got how many ships? 5 ships throwing 3 red dice.
Yeah.
Target lock focus is going around.
Yeah.
I bet my
anyway, sorry,
more red
I
dice.
didn't finish the premise before you got excited.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so excited by that list alone that I'm like, I can't wait to start getting into it.
So, so Michael said he was going to run this list, and then we got a message on the Discord earlier on this week in our X-Wing chat saying that a few of our listeners based in the southeast of England are all going to, because obviously restrictions and stuff have been relaxed for COVID now in the UK. The vaccination rate's doing pretty well over there. And he said that they booked an Airbnb for the next few days, and a bunch of them are just going to go and play games and hang out and stuff. So they're having a 5-player round-robin tournament. So we have all 5 lists, and I've got...
Actually,
I'm
called
not gonna,
the Pew Pew Holiday Event. Make sure you get the name in.
So I've got the results from the rounds we've played so far as well. I'm not going to spoil anything. But what I thought we could do is go through the 5 lists, chat about our thoughts on them, and then next time, obviously they'll have finished, so we can get some feedback from them and see how it went. So
Sounds like a plan to me.
It's kind of like a tournament breakdown from a tournament that Lack of Focus is suited to covering.
Yes, exactly. This is definitely our kind of tournament to run.
Yeah, this is this could be the model for Lack of Focus Con at the Games Center.
It's still going to be weird to say.
Yeah.
Although, just throwing it out there, we're probably all bringing 1,000 point more 40k list too. Just throwing that out there.
Oh,
I'm just trying to determine: am I going to bring Tyranids? Am I going to bring Space Marines? Am I going to bring Necrons?
So your Sister Battle should be being assembled as we speak.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah!
Joy! Just in time for the new codex.
Yeah.
So you can't see Chris's hands, but that's what he's doing under the.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I got, in fact, one of our listeners, Ben's assembling your Sisters of Battle for you.
Ooh.
He was asking. It shot me a message because he knows I've been clearing out a bunch of stuff. So, do you have any old Sisters of Battle bits? I was like, no, but I'm sure I could work something out. If you build all of these, if there's stuff left over, I don't care about it.
Yeah, because you're in that policy of just throw out the extra bits, where if I'm still on the policy, I have stacks and stacks of bits that I'm probably never going to use.
Yeah. So
I literally have bags of bits.
Well, that's why that guy at Nova Open runs an entire store of bits, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, when we can get into when we get into the in focus on that, I will tell you tales of the Games Workshop bits truck that used to go around to game stores, and you used to buy bits by weight.
Mm-hmm.
Because you couldn't find them, because eBay and stuff like that didn't exist back in those days. So if you wanted a Meltagun and your buddies didn't have one, you were screwed until, oh, look, there's a truck full of bits and they've got 20 of them on there. Give me all of them. Like, oh, God.
Back in, let's say, it would have been about 2010? 2010, 2011, a decade ago. I was running a gaming club in the UK. And one of the things I decided I'd try and do was build a Space Marine army with stuff I could salvage off people for free.
Ooh. Here's
Because
those leg. There's
it
those
was
legs
just
that you're not going to use. The
it was just
torsos you're not going to use.
it was like, well, everyone's got Space Marines they don't want.
Everyone's got
Like,
Space Marine bits they don't want.
yeah. So I ended up doing a Blood Angels army. I think I got 1,500 points of Blood Angels, and I can't for sure, because it was a decade ago, I can't for sure say I didn't end up paying anything, but it must have been less than £100, so like less than the cost of 2 tactical squads, but I got a full 1,500 point army. Oh.
Back in the day, they used to pick all kinds of different options, so you could multi-pose your models, and you can go, "Oh, there's 4 torsos that I'm never going to use," and you could sell them off. It's like, "Here's bolter guns. Well, I put 2 melter guns and a flamer in this unit, so I didn't use those bolt gun arms, so I can use." Yeah, oh, those were the days. Those were the days.
And they still do kind of do that. It's just you
Some of
don't
the
get as
older
many options. You don't get.
Well, yeah, and I think you're gonna find this whenever you start building those models, though. Like those intercessors, there's really only one way to put them together.
Oh, I'm
And
sure. Yeah. No, there's. I'm somewhere around here.
because what you'll get is you'll get the, oh, here's the arm and then the piece of the chest. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense. Why did they do that? That is Games Workshop's response to all of those bit makers, like, oh, we're gonna make Ultramarine shoulder pads and call them U
Ultramarine shoulder
Marines.
pads.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, that's what Chapter House was doing at the time.
Anyway,
But
stop. We're on the
stopping.
main topic now.
We're on the main topic now. Anyway,
We're
yes, you're
doing
right.
a 40k in focus because this is
I
going to be
know,
a
I'm
short
gonna
one.
I'm gonna get
1
there.
hour 13 minutes in, we've covered
This-
one list.
That is a short show for us.
So
Anyway, to get into my critique on this,
4x1b.
love it. Love every part of this list.
So it still has
One
the
of-
stabilized foils and tractor beam on the B-wing as well, which
Yeah.
I'm really
Tractor
interested
Beam's
to
free,
see.
why not?
Yeah, I want to see how many times he manages to get the target lock, because obviously it's if you fire the primary, you can spend the lock to fire the tractor beam afterwards. So how many times he gets to pull off the tractor beam shot to actually reduce the agility for the rest of them. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
Same here. I mean, that's pretty much like. There's no fluff, no muff on this one. Like, honestly, it's I'm going to tractor beam something. I'm going to lower the agility, and the rest of the X-wings are going to do the work. That's legitimately what it's there for. And arguably a better list than what the first edition 4B1Z list was, because the Z, I'm sorry for Chris's overseas friends, because the Z95 was only ever there usually for blocking. Like its whole intention was, I'm going to block you, and then these 4 B wings are going to blow you out of the sky. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah,
of
it was control. It was control, and you focus one down every turn.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And this particular, like the Zed never really did much of anything. Like if it got off a damage or a shield here and there, okay, great, fine, it did something. But that was its sole purpose. Whereas this one is, if it doesn't have a tractor beam shot or doesn't need the tractor beam shot, you still have 3 red dice throwing on a pretty stable chassis to throw down and to put some damage into it. Fantastic list. Love every part of it.
Yeah. Oh, it's good.
Next.
I'm pretty confident that's a strong list. So people will always put something in front of it for you to shoot. So
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of dice being thrown at that ship too.
yeah.
The catch with that one, of course, is you want to try to maximize your shots. You want to try to maximize the amount of time people are spending in front of that list and rolling the most amount of red dice that you can on that. So that's where you get into things like flying in formation a little bit. Maybe you break
Well,
the B wing off with another X wing and the other 3, like you do the hammer and anvil
this
kind of present.
this is a perfect list that you could use the Pixid with the 4 X-wings, and then have the B-wing kind of that ship that's forcing ships in front of the X-wings. And for those that don't know what Pixid is, it's basically a formation where if all the ships are the same initiative value, they all
The
move
same dial.
Yes, yeah. and you can look it up and see because it's actually out there.
Yeah,
But
it's a tighter
The
than
pit,
doing a box formation. It keeps it in a smaller footprint.
and it
Well,
keeps
you
it
swipe. Yeah.
actually. Everybody can do one turns. Everybody can do banks. Everybody can do everything, and it
didn't they also like I know Pixid was the username in the X-Wing forums of the person who developed it, but didn't it
it
affectionately get
was.
called it didn't it affectionately get called the pinwheel maneuver as well, like the pinwheel flying in
Probably,
formation?
but I always called it the
Yeah,
Pixie.
yeah,
That's when,
you get credit where
Yeah.
credit's due. The person who wrote the article, I agree, 100%.
yeah. And the other thing about it was is that's what I flew in Denver with the 4B wing list was all Pixid maneuvering, and what it does is you're always keeping those four ships, and then when you need to have a ship, especially when you're flying, with ace pilot or against ace pilots, you shoot one B-wing out to block it.
Correct.
And then the next turn you do a one straight and you can reform Pixid right back up and get it all back into formation. There's a lot of different ways. But with this list you could literally do that and put four ship guns on almost everything
Yeah.
every turn.
So the one thing we don't know is what obstacles he took. So I'll be interested.
You actually, if you go to
As I say, he's got it. He can export
if
it
you
out.
go to
Oh,
rounds, click on, I think it's, let me see here real quick. If you go to the rounds, click on his name and then go to list, it'll show you he took
he took the
three
gas
of.
clouds. He took the
Yep,
gas clouds.
yep.
Okay.
Arguably a good choice.
That's what we said. Gas clouds is pretty. No consequences, fine. So
Yeah,
it's fine.
I agree. I agree 100% with that list.
And with a list like this, yeah, that's how you want to fly. No consequences.
Yep.
On to
Yes.
my second favorite on the lists here of the ones that I'm reading, the Cowabunga Squadron. God,
Have you seen
I
the pictures on the Discarded?
I didn't want to spoil myself.
Yes, if you scroll down to today at 20 past 2, but for me, so it'd be 20 past 4 for you. It's
In the
got
general,
in X-Wing Talk on the Discord.
gotcha.
Again, I could bring it up for the listeners.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I see the 3 gas clouds that he took on this one too.
But if you look at 327, you'll see this list.
Yeah.
So it's the second to last picture if you scroll all the way down.
Oh, that's an interesting setup for them. I like the offset maneuvering.
Yeah.
Well, so we should probably get into the list before we get too far into the setup on this one. But basically, we're running the quad jumper, Constable Zervo, and then you're doing Crymora goons, with proton bombs and ion cannons. I love it.
Yeah.
I love every part of this.
And
He's got other stuff on the quad jumper.
why is it Cowabunga Squadron? Now you've seen the picture.
Oh, well, for those of you that are wait, do you have the pictures up right now?
I do have the pictures up right now.
Okay, so I'm not talking out of school in the fact that you have one blue and one purple and one orange and one red. It's Ninja Turtles. I love it. I love every part of it. And they are painted like turtles. The Y-wings are green with a little yellow chassis. I love every part of it. And they've even got the stripes on them.
And then there's
So
Master Splinter in the quad jumper.
Yeah, fantastic. I love the whole theme of the list. Everything about this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take that away and show off our wonderful faces again.
Does he have custom arcs on there? That's really sharp.
Yeah, I like the way the arcs also give ship numbers too.
Yeah, that's really sharp. I don't know if
Yeah.
those are like something he custom 3D
I
printed.
think you can get them from Curl Paw Creatives, I think, do stuff like that. I don't know if those ones are the Curl Paw ones, but obviously other places are available. I know Alan does 3D print, does acrylics as well because he did ours. So you get it from him, but no one sponsors us at the moment, so get them from wherever you want, guys.
Those are really, really sharp. I have a very soft spot in my heart for the Y-wing. From the original movie, it was my favorite ship. I was never an X-wing guy. I thought the Y-wing was the cooler of the two ships. Um,
It
so
blew up better.
it blew up better, yeah, because the legs broke off and stuff.
Yep.
As much as I freaking hated the list, the one thing that I loved about when TLTs came out, when people were running the quad TLT list with 4 Y-wings, was the fact that it brought Y-wings back into the game, because up until Wave 1, by the time Wave 2 came out, nobody ever ran. I mean, occasionally you had the Rebel Convoy. I'm not going to forget that list. Rebel Convoy had what, 2 Y-wings
Well,
with
they
ion
had two
cannons
I
too.
yeah. You also had what was it? Trying to think. It was like Y wings and B wings. I can't remember. It's what Jonathan Gomes ran
Oh
back
yeah,
way back in 14 when he played against Ira Mayer at Worlds. I think it was like 2 Bs, 2 Ys. It was a pretty headbutting list. I can tell you that. That list was pretty good because you could block and you could firepower people and control people.
my point was
Like
by
Golden
Wave.
Daggers, was it? I think was
I
the
think
name.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, Golden
Yeah.
Daggers, I think was the name of the list.
But by the time Wave 4 rolled out, Y-wings dropped off the face of the earth. You
Well, they
never
did.
saw.
They did because unfortunately, Fantasy Flight put a ship out there that threw 4 dice, and you couldn't hit with really anything because they would move after you, shoot before you, and cloak.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then you're on one agility ship that's like not going to be able to shoot them, even with turrets, the way the turret rules were back then,
Right.
which is why twin laser turrets brought him back. And anyway,
Yeah, and then the Stress
yeah,
Hog was a staple to what
The Stress
basically
Hog was
throughout.
huge. Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot about that. You're right. I had totally forgot about the stress hog. It did
Yeah.
take one, but you only ever saw one.
Oh yeah, because there were limited drive you needed for
Yeah,
it.
you only ever saw one. My point is, I've always loved the Y-wing, so to see someone run 4 Y-wings. That having been said, the proton bombs are an interesting choice on the list. The ion cannons are another interesting
It's just all
choice.
about arcs. You have
Yeah,
you're always getting to roll dice, and then if your ions hit, you can bomb them.
yeah.
Like
I see where the list is going.
you can use the tractor array to position them so that you get to bomb them better. Yeah, it's an annoying list to play against. I think I've played against something similar. But yeah, I'm relatively certain at Crate Cup 4 I played against 5 Y-wings with ions, and that was horrible. Because I was running the 4-ship Imperial list that was pretty light on hull. So like
Yeah,
anything
that would be
actually
kind of
took the
painful.
ion, it was scary.
Yep.
But yeah.
One for
It's
you,
good.
Sean. It's a good list. It feels a little, there's a bit of a gimmicky to there's a bit of a gimmick to it. I love every part of it. There's a bit of a gimmick to it though, and if the gimmick doesn't work, the list collapses. I think that's
Yeah.
the only part that I would have a problem with on that.
Yeah, and the bombs should do a lot of work though. But,
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah. Oh
Well,
God, yeah.
they'll either work for you or against you. You'll
Are
either
you?
get them all off or you'll have some left.
Yeah, you've got a hull to soak it. It's fine. Just drop them all.
Yeah.
Drop
Yeah,
them
drop 'em all.
all. um, then we've got Nans with the Separatist squad, an energy shell swarm. So a Separatist racketeer fire spray.
I was gonna say one for you, Sean.
Yeah, General Grievous crew, and then the S-thread tracers. So Grievous just gives it a bit of survivability, and then the tracers can hand out target locks for everyone else.
Yeah, for all the energy shell charges that are coming.
Yeah, and then 5 Trade Federation drones with grappling struts and energy shell charges.
A good swarm.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a good swarm list.
5, but 5 rounds of energy shells, so you get 1 round of shooting that's the same as the rebel list shots, but
Mhm.
you also
Yeah.
get a fire spray on top of it, which could I would guess the way you kind of do it is throw the fire spray out first, have all of the drones behind it, get the tracers off with a fire spray, take a bunch of damage onto a fire spray, and then just try and fly over them and run and use your rear arc, whilst the
Yep.
drones have all now got calculate and target lock.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, I
So,
could see this one is one of those you really have to, your alpha has to win
yep.
the game for you,
yeah.
and then you're using the racketeer if it's still alive to try to mop everything that's left up.
It's a list after my own heart. It's a swarm list that's got some punch to it. I love it.
The thing I really like about this one is the fact that you don't need to like all be together for it to work. So you can come at it from
Yeah.
multiple angles.
Yes.
Yep.
Traces work from range to a target, not to each other. So the only reason you fly them close together is to benefit from the network calculations. But
Mhm.
like
Correct.
flying them in pairs is probably enough if you want to lean on that. Yeah. Then the next list was James's resistance list, which this type of list has done the rounds for resistance a few times now from memory.
Mhm.
Corvinell in the resistance transport, so she's the if you do if your dial showing red, you get benefits. And obviously Leia and an R4 astromech to make it not matter what colour your dial was anyway. And then heroic.
I was
Then
just gonna say you're missing the key point to the whole list.
am I am I am I
It's an entirely heroic list.
yes. Yes, thanks, James. Thank you. Then we have Gria Sono with heroic and advanced optics. She's solid.
Mhm.
Heroic on the A wing is pretty good offensive boost. It's fine. It's fine, I suppose. Temin and the yeah, Temin. So that is not snap. That one I don't.
Yeah, that's the not
That's the
snap laser.
mom, isn't it?
Yes, from the
So there's
X-wing.
2 versions of Temin Wexley now, both in T70s, which
Oh, that's right. I forgot
annoys
about the
me.
upgrade pack one.
Yeah, it's Temin Wexley, and then there is um, um, Temin Wexley of the can't remember what the box is called. The he- Heroes something hopeful. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up. Aren't I? I've just broken myself.
Heroes of the Resistance.
Yeah,
Or
Heroes of Resistance. That's the one. Um, so which one would that be? Sorry, I've gone crazy.
she's
Uh,
extra heroic.
yeah, heroic. I'm just gonna have to build them both and see which one's which, and then R2 astromech. It was R2, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there was a base R2.
Yeah. Base R2.
Okay, so it is the boosting Temin. So yeah, it is snap work. So the subtitle for that one is snap, not the other one, because I think you would run out of
Gotcha.
points. Yeah. I suppose for this list it's irrelevant because he doesn't have anyone else using S files, but the other Temin's really good. But that's bye. And then Kazuno the owner in the Fireball with heroic and coaxium hyperfuel. And it's 4 nice individual Initiative 4 ships that all do their own thing and are pretty funky. And it's pretty solid, but it kind of gets picked apart because Temin's a big threat. Not Carver is predictable in a flight path. And then you've got 2 slippery aces, but I say aces in the same way Chad uses I4s as aces, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The limitation. I like the list, but I think it has a lot of limitations because I don't know how well you can synergize everything.
I think
You know,
the problem with this list is the skill.
that's
Yeah.
It's a harder, like, if we scroll back to the top, if you put that rebel list or this resistance list, I would probably fly a resistance one and regret it all day.
right.
Because I could have an extra ship and them all be 3 dice attacks. And
But
what am I really losing?
if he's a good pilot and knows how to fly this list, it could be a pretty dangerous list, though.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, no, I
but
agree.
it's definitely got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
As a 4-ship resistance list. And then the last list we have is David with his Han and Dash, two wide ass large bases.
Edge of Honor listing are right here.
Yeah.
I love the concept of the list. I wish it were a archetype that actually did well in second edition.
I
Unfortunately.
also think too what you're up against is this list is kind of has issues because you could knock Han off the board in one round with bad rolling.
Well, so
That's
I'm
we
trying
can
to
see the entire field, which does make me feel a little bit bad for David.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and I think I'm trying to evaluate the list on its own merit first before I look at the other competition that it's going through. And on
So
its own merit,
it's Han with veteran turret gunner and trick shot, Dash with veteran turret gunner, trick shot, and Outrider.
of course,
So
200 points flat, two
yeah,
big fat big ships, and this is an archetype that I flew in first edition quite a bit. Whether it was a Fathan list that ran 3Zs or if you ran another large base ship, like this was in its day a fantastic archetype when turrets were turrets. The
Yep.
problem is the turrets are not turrets now, and I love the idea of what you're trying to go for the we're going to put trick shot on Han. I love the double triggers. I personally still think like they keep bringing Dash further and further and further down. I'm waiting for him to get to the point where he is competitive.
I think
Um,
Dash is in a good place now. I
yeah, I
think he
agree. As
can
far
do stuff. Yeah.
well, the fact that you're pulling off veteran turret gunner trick shot and the outrider title for 110 points when it was 105 when it first came out for the second edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. He's probably in a good place. Again, I'm a gigantic fan of both ships. The unfortunate part of it is that the turret ships, turret based large base ships, just simply are genuinely underperforming in second edition. So obviously this isn't competitive talk. So it doesn't matter if you enjoy flying the list and have fun with it. Who cares? Like
Right.
legitimately, it doesn't matter as long as you're enjoying flying the list. I would enjoy flying a list like this. I look at
Yeah.
the other lists that you're flying against, however, David, and go, ooh, like God help you if you got the Trade Federation swarm on your first round. That would be a feels bad man. That would be I got to shoot with Han
Well,
once, and then he got picked up off the board, and there goes half my list.
so I think the problem I see with this list is for it to be effective, you need to play against someone who's going to spread out. Because to get any value out of the veteran turret gunners, you've got to be opposite arcs.
Yep.
So that
And
means
you
that
can get that with the mid game. The problem is I don't know that both of your ships survive the mid game.
yeah. So
To
like,
get
Well, I think you're going to lose one
Michael's
of
list.
them.
Yeah.
I think you'll lose one of them in the alpha shortly thereafter.
yeah, I would be surprised if it survives at the opening exchange.
And why this is I love the list too. I played a lot of Han and
Same
a lot
here.
of Chewbacca. I've played a lot of those lists in 1.0. My problem of playing a list like this in 2.0 is I'm looking at 90 and 110 points. How do you come back from 110 points if you go down 110 points in one ship, leaving one ship on the table?
If you
That's
you can't trade one of your ships for what
for
like
even 2 or 3.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I
That's a
mean,
hard list to play.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be
Unless they
I'd be
played with some
scared.
sort of unless they played with some sort of special rule that turreted large base ships could just free room their turrets. Like I don't
The reason why I don't think that is because he has the turret markers on his ships.
I know.
Yeah.
And well, and that's kind of goes into the big like what how would I fix large base turreted ships for second edition? Give them back their turrets. That like
No,
honestly
I think they're fine. Honestly, I think
I
they're
I
fine. They're just
vehemently
not what they
disagree with
used
it.
to be.
And by not what they used to be being, they're not
They're not
competitive
overpowered.
and virtually unplayable.
I
Well,
disagree.
I don't know if you have I think there's a middle ground in those two statements where Chris is saying that they are, you're saying they're not. It's just your play style at that point. If you have one of those ships and then other ships on the board, it's a different type of ship
Yeah, and that was
game.
that was probably the direction I was going to go with the critique on this one. I would have picked one of these large base
Or the
ships
yep, exactly.
to build your list on, and then fill those other 90 or 110 points with other support ships, which is the reason why Fought Han did as well as it did. Even though there were three Z's, there were blockers out there. You could be able to set ships up. Like that's the reason why one of the reasons why 3PO being the other, why that listed as well as it did was because it had those other things. To dump all those
Well,
points into two ships, you're asking for trouble.
you had 3PO in 1.0, you had 3PO and R2D2 doing
Oh
a
god, yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about
boatload
that.
of boatload of work in what was that third edition time frame or third wave time frame with that. You couldn't ask for more, and then of course you could throw the title on the ship and get the evade token,
Hmm.
and let everything else just do the work. And with Han's ability was reroll dice, so it's free target lock basically if you don't like your roll.
Yep.
And I don't think the meta is I don't want to talk meta here. I don't think X-Wing 2.0, from my experience, my little bit of experience with it, is built for two large base ships like this in the game. I think it is more so built for more of that 4 ship, 5 ship, 6 ship swarmy type game, or at least
Yeah, like
Or the
that's the
three
a three
feel of
aces
it.
that
ship
are
a three ship
Three
list now
aces.
is a small number of ships. A
Yep.
2 ship list is verging on the unplayable. Like there's got to be something like theoretically dash and that 4 dice attack could be the something that we're talking about here, but there's got to be something
Mhm.
that pushes you above and beyond to
Right.
make a 2 ship list work now. So like Vader in the defender and something theoretically could
Oh, yeah.
work because it's something outside of the norm. But I think that David would find that given a perfect scenario and he got to activate veteran turret gunner on both ships, he's highly unlikely to kill 2 ships. So it's just spreading damage and you've got less ships. So I think
And
it
that's the
just
danger with this
yeah.
list is the moment you're spreading damage, you're
Yeah.
you're falling behind quickly. Even
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
half points world, you're falling behind quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not executing one of the fundamental tips to how to win at X-Wing, focus
Well,
fire.
if you look at the separatist swarm, if I
Oh, that's
knock,
what I said. That list is a nightmare for
I
this.
mean, I
yeah, even the Rebel
theoretically,
Alliance, Michael Fenner's list is a pain for it too, because
Mhm.
you're trying to cut through the shields, and then you're trying to cut
Michael's
through.
list would be the worst matchup out of all of these. I
Oh,
think
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely,
yeah.
because
absolutely.
theoretically, when the separatists, you could kill 4 drones in the opening exchange, you're not killing two of those rebel ships.
Yeah, you're not killing two X-wings or two B or the B-wing
It,
and an X.
and I'm going to say one more thing that about when you look at all of these lists together, with the exception of David's list, and it's not a knock on it, but I think you're going to time against every other list against every other list in the round robin is going to time against each other most likely until you play David, and then you're probably
Yeah, I mean,
probably 200 half point type thing.
yeah, I think the way that David has to play this is just bait and run and
Yep,
just
run
not be
away.
there and
Yep,
very.
try to get your
He
turret lined up.
does
And
anyone out? No one out aces him, so he's got the highest initiative on the field.
yeah,
So
but he
damn,
has to
that's
take his
that.
ship off.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard work looking at this matchup.
Yep.
So
I just think all the other lists will most likely play to time, and you'll have the half points will be extremely important.
Yeah.
yeah,
This list is, it's probably 75 minutes of literal frustration against your opponents, because if you don't knock the ship off the board turn one, by the end of turn two, you're probably hurting. One of the two ships is probably down quite a bit to where if it takes any fire in any round, you're losing the ship, and you're already at 45 or 55 points, half points right there
yeah.
against the other list. It's just, and it's not. We're
It
picking
seems
on
like
this
hard
list.
work.
It sounds like,
Yeah, I'm
yeah, it's just a
we're not trying to, David. I
no,
legitimately.
Oh,
no.
I think it's just like if we're going
I
to predict how these matches go, I think that I would have to say that's going to be the hardest way. And like I said,
That list is going to
you
have
can you
the
can get
highest hill to
wins,
climb.
but we're talking about in the internal meta of this event. It's going to be
yes,
hard work because
yep,
the thing is doesn't have to try and get like no one's running Imperial Aces here.
nope,
Like if someone's running Imperial Aces and David runs this, you've got to do. You probably get
Oh
shots off
yeah,
every turn.
yep.
But
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So,
So
like I said, I'm going to stand by my position in the beginning. If you have fun flying the list, who cares?
Exactly.
oh
Who
yeah,
cares?
The fun in that list might be the challenge.
It could be. Yeah,
Truthfully,
absolutely.
that if you're a player that loves that challenge in X-wing, this is for this meta, this tournament. And I don't know if they went in with knowledge of what each person was playing prior to or anything, but I mean, this is
Or if Han Solo is your favorite character in Star Wars,
exactly,
then
everyone knows that
do
Redline's
that.
people's favorite character from the movies. Oh, that TIE Punisher. Oh man, that's my favorite. I don't just run it because I can win.
Winning is a theme. I'm just saying.
Oh man.
So
Yeah,
do we
so
want to go into a sneak peek of how these are doing, or do we want to
well,
save
let's
it
I
for
let's
think
next?
we'll
let's
leave it for the
let
next show. I think because I don't want
yeah.
like we're obviously halfway through the event now because we're recording late on a Friday, so they've had time to play a couple of games. So
Good for them. I'm jealous. Like I would love to do what they're doing. Like the
yeah,
entire idea, like we're doing the same thing. We're just going to get together for a weekend and throw some stuff down.
Yep.
yeah. I'm. I was looking at uh, when the border is going to be open and when I wouldn't have to
I know.
quarantine on the way back, and
I
yeah,
know. I
I'm
know.
itching to just go somewhere and do something.
So
Oh,
I'm in that same boat. So full disclosure, my two of my children have been vaccinated.
yeah,
Um, they haven't done the shot for the 12 and under yet. And once that happens, I am going to be able to venture outside because that means the entire family has been vaccinated.
yeah,
We will be, and
And
I promised Chad he'll pick the game, whatever he wants to play. The minute that 14-day waiting period is over on the second shot, I'm doing it.
so
yeah,
the other thing is that, for me, is that I'll still wear a mask. I've been vaccinated and have had COVID since I was vaccinated. I'll still wear a mask. just
Yeah.
because there's
Wearing a
other
mask in
people.
Walmart today. Like, I'm still
Well,
doing that.
there's other reasons you want to wear a mask at Walmart probably, but
Right.
my concept is that it's not, I can still catch it and carry it even with a vaccine potentially, to where I don't want to be a spreader. Now when I'm at work I don't wear it because I'm in a small group of people and everybody but two of us have been vaccinated. And like I said, I've already been vaccinated and had COVID. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be different. So the problem that I have, so like for example, I literally just got done planning our first of two vacations that we're going to take over the summer. And we're going to outdoorsy stuff.
yeah,
I'm okay with taking the kids to a theme park, for example. Um, they'll still wear masks in close quarters, but like it spreads less outdoors. I know this now. We
yeah,
know this now
absolutely.
as a society. So like I'm okay with the idea of like, oh, we're gonna go to the beach one day, or we're gonna go here. We're still gonna keep our distance. We're still gonna try to keep this, but like we're not gonna be dumb about it. But I'm okay taking the kids to something like that. The fundamental problem that I have with a game store is I go into this small, cramped in place with no ventilation, and I'm going to be sitting less than 3 feet away from another person playing a game. That's where my fundamental problem comes in. If I could do this in my driveway, I have a driveway that's got a hill. Otherwise, I would do this. I play in the driveway. Like, as long as it's well ventilated, I think I'm kind of okay with the idea doing it. But I just need, once all the kids have their vaccines, then I'm good. Then I can be all right and comfortable in a position. So we're close. We're super close.
Yeah,
Hopefully by July, I'll be able to get out of the house finally and go and do something. Anything. Doesn't matter what it is.
yep, yep, exactly.
All right, I think that's probably a good place to button it up because I've got an in focus I'm really looking forward to doing tonight too.
Yeah. So obviously, let us know what you guys think. Leave some comments on the video because obviously this is on YouTube again now because
Bye.
I started working harder again. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, harder. And you can jump on a Discord and follow along with them because they've been posting pictures, as I've shown a few of them off on the YouTube video. So yeah, make sure you jump onto a Discord. It's been really fun getting to know everyone. Been playing some Neptune's Pride, and that's dragging a little bit now. Been
A
playing
little.
some.
Has anything happened in the last 3 days?
So some Adam just quit, which threw us in another AI. So everything's gonna go to pot. But
Oh, I
my
did
secret
not
plan,
notice it.
was that if nothing happened by tomorrow night when we finish playing Inquisitor, I was just going to quit
Oh,
myself and throw in the
uh,
AI.
it, it's so we've. Oh, okay. So we've got how many people had quit now?
So 3 people out, one person's quit, and yeah, I think I've got ideas for if we run another one, but I also think having a week off might do people good as well to
Yeah, no,
not
I don't.
not
well,
keep rolling in.
you're also getting into that summertime time frame too, where people are
Yeah,
busier with other things, and America is opening up. Whether
No,
I
we're
don't want to
getting
go
there.
there. It's
yeah,
it's happening here, so
CDC says I don't have to wear a mask. I wasn't wearing one anyway, but now I got an excuse. Of course, I'm vaccinated.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
fun times. Um, well, yeah, so we run stuff. Obviously, um, I'm not 100% yet, but if I do the painting streams, there's a good chance there'll be a painting hangout on Discord as well. So you'll be able to come and actually physically chat rather than just doing Twitch chat if you want to. But that should start up in I will say in June. That'll at least have one or two of them done, just where I try and get a feel for it and what how it changes my normal painting routine. If I can remember to actually talk about what I'm doing while I'm doing it, all of the good stuff of like streaming
mhm.
stuff. Um,
It's getting into that habit. That's going to be the catch.
yeah. We are we playing tomorrow? So are
Yes,
we? Yeah.
yes.
I plan on it, so
Yeah.
I
So
plan on it.
we'll
yeah.
be streaming
I,
some Inquisitor Martyr.
I need to know how far ahead you guys are. I might work ahead tomorrow. I've got a honey-do list I need to fill tomorrow, but once that's done, I might work a little ahead just to play catch up on levels so I can catch up with
I
you
don't think
guys.
we're not that far ahead with Sean. I don't think so.
2 levels. You're
Yeah.
2 levels
Oh, well
behind
then
me, and I'm 2 or 4 behind Chris. I can't remember.
Yeah.
that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is that
Um.
if we ping off Chris, so if we play the campaign, we're pinging off you, Ed. If we play the non-campaign, just play the higher level stuff, we
Mhm.
Yeah.
ping off Chris. So it benefits us, I think, a tiny bit more than Chris because we're getting more XP, but the gear is better. So it depends which way we go with. I still want to do the campaign like we talked about,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree.
so
And
we
then
can complete it and then start the new one.
yeah,
So
because I was just gonna say because Sean did a very nice thing. We have the all the 40K Inquisitor stuff went on sale in
so
Steam.
I was going to talk about that, but I'll let you finish this point first, and then I'll run us back.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so Steam just recently ran a deal where all of the expansion stuff for Warhammer 40K Inquisitor went on sale. It was like $20 for everything,
Yep.
and we all got it because Sean's an awesome, amazing person and said, "Here, you can have this." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you."
Yeah. Alan
The
bought it
day
as well.
after, the day
So
Oh,
after, ooh, whoa,
so we
whoa,
can get a fourth.
we can get a fourth.
whoa.
Tell them to
Yeah.
start leveling now.
I told
Yes.
him that he can either turbo level through a tutorial, or he can just play for a bit and then start a new character when we start a new character.
To
Yeah,
do the other
it's a
campaign.
good way
Yeah.
to do it too. Yeah,
Yeah, but there's a big
or
part of me that
power level. I want to
well,
play now.
well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, I know he's gonna be low enough. I know he's gonna be fairly low level, but if he stays in the back with the rear, he'll level up really fast by the one night of
Yeah, but
gaming with us.
he could get crushed, but who cares? Because he's still going to level. I
Right, he's
mean,
still gonna level. He should still join us. We should message him tonight and say, Alan, you need to join us tomorrow.
well, then we need to feed him those extra
I've
XP
got
things.
I've got extras. We'll level him. We'll
Yep, and
power level him up.
we don't use those. He uses them only so that
Right.
he can power level through us.
Ed's going
So
to secretly use them.
there's gonna be an icon on my character. You'll see it if I'm using the power.
I didn't say it
No,
was going to be a good secret.
yeah, no, I completely agree. We need to message Alan as soon as we're done here and say, "Hey, you're playing with us tomorrow night, and we're gonna power level you through." The only problem that I would be afraid of, is if he's really looking forward to like the story that's involved in it. If he picks up where we are, we're what? We're in chapter 3 right now,
Yeah,
so he's gonna
but
miss everything that happened before that.
Yeah.
yeah, or he could start working right now, play straight through, and get caught up in the story by tomorrow night, so that he has no sleep.
Yeah,
He's
get him on the
irritable and
job.
grumpy. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
what I was going to move us on to is it is currently a Warhammer Skulls Festival of Video Games with up to 85% off. So what I thought we could do is pick up a couple of other things we can play as well.
Jesus.
So
Now, all right, let's.
if you go and look,
Pulling
Warhammer
Steam up
Underworld.
now. What did you do?
Hold on.
So Warhammer
What in the
Underworlds
hell?
Online is currently free.
Okay, so you should just pick that up just because it's stupid not to.
Yeah, it is one of the ones where there's in-game content to buy, so you buy different warbands and stuff, but it's currently
Okay,
free. So that's one I've already
so
downloaded and installed.
so Warhammer Online, play for free.
So it's which one? Warhammer Online.
Warhammer Underworlds Online.
So not add your. Why can't I just buy it? Where is it?
It says you have to add to account. It should
Yeah,
say, so you go to the store, put it in, and
Oh,
then
add to account. There it is. I didn't see the button.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't say add to cart. It just says
Got it.
yeah.
add to account.
Then I also have been playing Battlefleet Gothic Armada.
Ooh,
Is that a?
spaceships.
I know, but is that a 40K?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is
I did not know
currently
that.
$5.19 for the
Oh
first
my
one.
god, Inquisitor Motor's down to 12.49.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts my wallet so hard.
Yeah.
Battlefleet Gothic. Hold on. I'm
Uh,
not seeing what you're seeing here.
yeah, I'm not seeing it either.
So
Oh,
we can I can
Battlefleet
say,
Gothic Armada.
yeah, and Armada is
That's $3.99.
$5.19. Yeah, I'm talking Canadian, obviously,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then Armada
$3.99.
2 is like $10 Canadian.
Yeah, it's $7.49.
And which one did you pick up? The Armada?
I've got
The
I
first
had
one.
Armada already because I bought it when it was new. I haven't bought the
Mhm.
second one yet, but that's a game you can play against each other. It's pretty good fun. What else was there? We could get Fury of Dracula because that's the one that Frank Brooks did the conversion over for.
Yep.
So we could all play that as a board game together. That's only 25% off though.
It's $15.
Yeah. Then what else was there that looked fun and interesting?
Is Warhammer Underworld, is that an MMO?
I don't think it's an MMO.
What
Warhammer
was?
Underworld. Oh no, that's it's Shadespire.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's the it's magic with miniatures. You'll like it.
Half sold already.
Yeah.
What else is there?
What
Yeah.
was
I
your
mean,
third one, Chris?
I forgot now. It doesn't matter. Well, go through.
Warhammer Skulls.
So if you click on Warhammer Skulls, that just brings up all of the games that are on offer.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn, Space Hulk Tactics. Is that just Space Hulk?
Yeah.
Space Hulk was like my entry drug into, into 40K. If it's just a replication of the tabletop game in digital format,
No,
I'm
Space Hulk. So you would buy Space Hulk for that, but still has differences than the tabletop game, but it's very similar.
so this Space Hulk Tactics is not the same thing.
I don't think so.
It's a faithful
Oh,
adaptation.
it does
Says
say it is. So
faithful adaptation of the Space Hulk board games. Where like it's how much?
$5.99, $6.
Add
All
to
right.
cart.
Okay. I'm done with
Fuck you, Chris. Just
What do you want from me? There's an opportunity to get some fun games, and,
yep. So,
and I have more stuff to do.
so I got Space Hulk I picked up Space Hulk Tactics. I've got Battlefleet Gothic Armada, and then what else?
Did you get the Underworlds one?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
free one. That's done.
So after that, they all start being not as crazy discounts, but yeah,
Hey,
there's a
wait,
bunch of them.
can we play Space Hulk together?
Space Hulk Tactics is I don't know. I know you can play with the first-person shooter as a co-op. I don't know about this one.
How do I get to
Single player? Yeah, so it's single player. Online
care.
PvP. You can play against each other on Space Hulk Tactics.
Cool.
Online PvP. Yeah.
Where? How do I get to my cart?
Does
Come
that mean
on, Steam.
Does that mean I've got to add this to my cart? $7.99.
Why can't I get to my cart?
Continue shopping. So
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, what else was there? I'm thinking about getting the Adeptus Titanicus as well because I like Titans. But
How much is that?
That one looks like real money almost.
All right. I'm okay spending $10 on 2 games. Purchase
Space Hulk Deathwing is the first-person shooter version of it, and that is co-op. You just play as a squad of Terminators and walk around. But I've never played it multiplayer, so I don't know.
Yep, it's on my card. Every once in a while, Gabe puts his stuff on it.
Obviously, I was going to get Armada 2 as well, why it's on sale. Okay.
Woo!
There we go. Yep, so we can play some more games, fun times.
Damn it. Like, I'll just play Space Hulk by myself. It's such a great game.
Yeah. Next show is Ed playing Space Hulk on his own.
This is me playing Space Hulk. Woo! Battlefield Gothic Armada looks really good though. Like I'm looking at like
The visuals on it. So it's the only one. It feels like a decent, not recreation of the games. It's not like turn based or anything, but it feels quite true to a game. And then you add in the upgrades, which just makes it a lot more fun. I think it's really good.
well, first of all right, I'm a gigantic RTS fan. I've always been a fan of RTSs. This goes back to Command and Conquer, StarCraft, Red Alert. I know it's still technically Command and Conquer. Like I've always been a big fan of RTSs, and to do it, well, that's the reason why like the 40K RT, like the Dawn of War series, was one of my favorite games of all time because it combined two of my favorite things in the whole world: 40K and an RTS.
Yeah.
Although it took them forever. I don't think, first of all, the original Dawn of War, they never added Tyranids as a playable race, which really pissed me off. You had to wait to Dawn of War 2 for that. And I wanted them in Dawn of War 1. I wanted to be able to go through and run 14 Carnifexes into your base and say, have fun, boy. And 1,000 Hormigons.
Oh wow, fun times. So yeah, you could get any of those games we just spoke about, and you'll be able to play them with us. Because why not? Just post on a Discord.
They are dirt cheap on Steam right now, and they especially like Inquisitor. If you're even remotely closely interested in Inquisitor, paying $12 for it as opposed to 50, totally worth it.
Yeah.
It's
And
Diablo
you
in
can
the
join
40K
our
universe.
cabal. You can come and join our cabal.
You can absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, make sure you check it out on YouTube so you can look at us all. I've got my stupid blue light glasses. I've got my Gunners because obviously they don't sponsor us either. So other polarizing sunglasses are available. These make me better at League of Legends. So I'm only like Wood 4 now instead of Wood 5.
I've got my prescription glasses that turn into sunglasses that should actually be bifocals, but I'm refusing to accept that I'm getting old and need bifocals to think.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else. You can email us any questions, obviously, likeafocuspodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, Like a Focus Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram. The links for all of my social media stuff are down below. Do you want to pimp any of your stuff?
Sure, I haven't posted anything in a while on YouTube. I've kind of gotten like behind on my editing. I've got the last time that we did Inquisitor in the can. I just haven't uploaded them. That's part of the other projects I need to do. So you can start getting more stuff on that. We'll be playing Inquisitor tomorrow night, which means you can catch it on stream. So if you want to go out and check out Old Guy Gaming MTGA on Twitch, you can find Kris and Sean and hopefully Alan catching up and playing Inquisitor Martyr tomorrow night on Twitch. Although by the time you're hearing this, it's probably too late. But that you can get the Cliff Notes version where I edit out all the "Hey, I'm selling stuff" to actually see us actually playing that. I'll put that up on YouTube so you can check that out as well.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it. That's
the patrons will know about this tomorrow morning because I'm going to stay up and edit it immediately. So
because Kris is a hardest working producer.
yeah, obviously, if you want to support us on Patreon, you can go to Lack of Focus on Patreon, or if you wanted to do a monthly payment rather than a per show, you can go to Dice 8 on Patreon. Links again are in the show notes.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's going to do it for this one. I'd love to say it's always nice talking to you. We're going to talk to you again in about 10 minutes. But John, always good talking to you, my friend.
Yep, yep. It's glad to be back. I think I missed a couple episodes there with some stuff going on, and hopefully we'll be back at least as much as I can be with what's going on in my life. So,
All
but
things
it was fun.
understandable.
Yep, exactly. So, um, looking forward to our next show here in a few minutes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so
Kris,
I'll
always
just
good.
explain quickly, just because I should. It's been a while since we've done an In Focus. In Focus is the bonus content that we make, which we don't charge the patrons for, where we actually try and be more succinct on a topic. We can still be rambly, but we try and stay on point and actually talk about one thing. That generally gets posted to both the Dice Hate and the Lack of Focus Patreon pages as audio content, and then if it's got video content related to it, it'll go onto YouTube like a week later and stuff like that. But you can get it for free on the Patreon. You don't have to be a patron to listen and consume that content. It's just we host it there to give you a reason to look at it.
Absolutely. All right, so that is going to do it. Kris, always good talking to you, my friend.
It's always good to be here.
All right, so that is going to do it for episode 78. We're looking forward to talking over tournament results and see how did we know we were talking about it or not, and how well it was listed. So, as always, guys, do hope you enjoyed, and as always, fly casual. Thank you once again for joining the Lack of Focus X-Wing podcast. Check out Dice Hate Productions for all of the latest episodes, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again next episode.